Hello Internet, and welcome to another map announcement video. This one is for HunterX codename T, and just looking at the map on the screen, you might think, this looks oddly familiar, Demajen, haven't you done this map before? And the answer to that is, no, I haven't. This is a new one, but it is by a developer, Orange Popcorn or Neo Popcorn, that makes maps and games that are very, very similar. You know, they've made... I think they've technically made 3 metroidvanias now. They made 3000th The Duel, and then they gave it a big old expansion called The Wise Ones 3+ years ago at this point. I think it was 2019. Maybe before that, I don't know. Time, how does it work? And then in 2022, I believe it was, they brought out HunterX, which was a slightly different take, but using the same engine and using the same map system. And this December, December 2023, if I can speak, they brought out HunterX codename T, which is kind of a sequel, but with a different character, set in the same universe as HunterX. That much I can say for certain. And the character from the first game does pop up in this one. This features all of the things that you would expect on a map from me. The first thing that I've had to do, because it was doing my head in game, is color-coded the areas. HunterX does the same thing that Symphony of the Night does, in that everything is blue. And whilst that's very retro, it doesn't actually really help with navigation all that much. Which is interesting, because actually in the game files, all of the individual rooms are created already. It's not like they're created on the fly like another game that I'm going to do a video for today. So they could have just coloured in the different sprite sheets, the different colours, and had it work. But they haven't. Maybe it's throwback, maybe they just don't care. I don't know. HunterX codename T is a 2.5D Soulsvania. It is a Souls-like, and it has a very iffy difficulty curve, in my opinion. It's got some dodgy hitboxes, and it very much requires some grinding in order to stay on top of the HP curve of the enemies. You'll need to be upgrading your weapons, which means that you need to settle on a weapon, which means that a lot of the weapons that you get later on in the game, and you do get weapons all the way through to the end of the game, you're probably not going to feel that you've got the stuff that you need to upgrade them. And upgrade materials are actually really expensive, as are levels in this game. It is very grindy, I felt. I did complete it at around, I think it was level 82, 83, something like that. But it was a slog. And the Celestial Fortress, this zone at the top, does the same kind of thing that they did in HunterX and 3000th Duel, in the sense that it's basically a big boss gauntlet where a load of bosses from elsewhere in the game show up again. Getting around the map is decent enough. You get a fair chunk of abilities, from a double jump to an air dash to an 8-way dash to a super dash, which I think is new to this particular game and actually feels quite good. Weirdly enough, though, the actual upgrade that to me felt the best was a really, really simple one. You'll notice that there are some areas with water filled in is the word I'm after, on the map, and the water walking ability actually felt really, really useful, because you die instantly if you fall into water. Otherwise, it is an instant death, and considering that there are enemies with knockbacks and juggles, finding yourself in the drink was a fairly common and somewhat aggravating experience for me. So yes, getting water walk in the underground aqueduct is very, very useful. But it's an alright game. It is, like all of the other games, there's a lot of fun exploration bogged down by a real emphasis, a huge emphasis on combat. There are lots and lots of enemies in every, or almost every, single room. I'm going to point out one thing. I don't normally do this in these videos, but I'm going to point out one thing because I got stuck on this. At a point in the game, you get to the Gargoyle Master of Flame. And you'll notice that it drops a spell, the Spirit of the Gargoyle. And in pink, I very specifically put Melts Ice Doors. And the reason for this, and this is going to sound really stupid, and perhaps in retrospect it is really stupid, none of the spells in the game, until you get this one, and this is reasonably late in the game, have had any additional effects. So I stopped reading the descriptions of them, because I never planned on using anything. There are quite a number of spells that you can get as drops and so on and so forth. And this is something that they actually did in one of their previous games and I had forgotten about. That sometimes the spells that you get from bosses actually affect the world. So all around the map, there are these bright blue, icy gargoyle doors. And all you need to do to get through them is use the Spirit of the Gargoyle spell. The problem is, as soon as you complete that fight and get the item, you are launched into a cutscene with an NPC who tells you to go somewhere. And by the time that cutscene was over, all I was thinking about is where she'd asked me to go. So I'd completely forgotten, and I know this is probably a me issue, I'd completely forgotten that we'd just got a new spell, and I'd stopped reading the spells anyway. So I wandered around the map for literally half an hour, this map actually, because this is where she tells you to go. And I just thought something had bugged. You know, I thought she was going to give us the way of getting through this door. She's actually in this area behind an ice door, which I've darkened slightly so that you know it's a slightly different area. And I've done that over here as well. In fact, I think I've done that with all areas behind doors. Yeah, I've darkened the rooms ever so slightly. I don't know why I did that. There was probably a reason in my head while I was doing it. Just to show accessibility? I don't know. But yeah, if you find yourself with nowhere to go and the ice doors in your way, you'll have done exactly the same thing that I've done. You missed the spell description. It's very, very simple when you should get through. And it's actually, there's not much more game left. There's only 3 zones left after you get to this stage. I feel like that could be made a little bit clearer, but, you know, Souls-like, obtuse, yada yada yada. So yeah, everything that you want is on here. Spells, abilities, core abilities, all the treasure chests and the contents, puzzle solutions, locked doors, runic doors that you've got to try and get through, triangles for levers, because this was very quickly thrown together, this one. There is a paid version of the map available on mycoffee.com shop. There's also the free version available in the Google Drive. It is a fun experience. I had a good time with probably 85-90% of the game. I just ran out of steam with it in the boss gauntlets and the hitboxes and the juggles, and the final boss can one-shot you with most of her attacks. I believe she has been nerfed since I played it. It was one of the very first patches that they did. I don't know whether there've been any more. If you like your 2.5D games, if you like your Soulsvanias, give it a try. You know, it is not a bad game at all. It's not like a failed tier, E tier, D tier experience. It's mid, I think, is safe to say. It's a mediocre Metroidvania, but there is some enjoyment to be had here. There are far better games, but there are also far more expensive games that you could be playing. Give it a look for yourselves. Thank you very much for watching and all of the support. Very much appreciated. Catch you all in the next video. Cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.